All right. Well, we want to welcome everybody here. First of all, this is all about Google, using Google Classroom, some of the basics of Google Classroom, and some of the tips and tricks that you can use with some of the Google tools that we have. Because when we're in Google Classroom, of course, we can make a copy for people, but sometimes we need to do that for our colleagues as well. So that's something that we're going to look at today too. So, shall we start with Google Classroom today, Larry?
I think that would work.
All right. Well, you want me to present? I got a classroom already opened and ready to go.
All right. That'll work.
All right. Let me open this up here. Here we go. And here's my Google Classroom. All right. I'm sure many of you are familiar with our Google Classroom now that we have our Meet link, right? Everybody has their Meet link that they've been using, and we've got your code. Now, I don't know if you know this about the classroom code, but up in here, you see this right down here where it says copy invite link? You know what that means now? You can click that and you can send that link to like your administrator, whoever you want to join your Google Classroom. And when they click it, they're in the Google Classroom. They don't have to put in a code or anything. They're just in. And this might be a really easy way to get some of our admins in there. So that way they can, if they need to get into your Google Meets and all of that. Because I know sometimes those links have to change. So, and this is a really easy way using that invite link, just so you know that it's there. Also for some of your kids that are, I always think about the little guys that may not be able to put that code in, and you don't want to spend the time putting all of their email addresses in. Now you've got the invite link that you can share with them, and then their parents can help them to get in that way as well. I wouldn't share it out with older kids because then you might get a lot of people in your classroom that you don't want in your classroom.
So I got a question, Misha. If we would go ahead and copy that link, put it in the chat, they click on it, everybody would join, wouldn't they?
Probably. I can do that right now. So let me copy the invite link. I just copied it. Let me go to the Meet. All right. And let me go to the chat and put it in there. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to head back over to my classroom just to see if we get people in here. All right. It's pretty easy. It's just a click and usually it's like a button just to join. Just boom, you're in. And I didn't have to put in your email addresses. I just sent you the link. People having a hard time getting in, or are we good? Yeah.
Yep.
What about when they're in a meet like we are right now and there's double people?
There's double people in the Meet?
Yeah.
So like if you've got two Meets that are going at the same time, you mean?
No, it's the same Meet, but somehow our kids.
Oh, I know what happens. Sometimes they're on two different devices. Or sometimes they might have two windows open and they're in there two times.
Yep.
Because they've clicked on the link twice. That's how they get in there twice.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Usually, most of the time, because I see that a lot with some administrators, they have a device that they're watching, and then they have one that they're working off of. I guess for sound purposes, sometimes that they're worried about that. So you'll see a lot of that. And some kids, they maybe not know that they've gotten in there already, and then they open another window and they get in there, and then they're in there a couple of times. So that does happen.
Okay.
So yeah, and you will see that from time to time. So I'm here in my yes.
This link sent me to the stream. It didn't let me. It didn't.
So you're here.
Oh, let's see. Yes.
So up at the top, you've got your classwork and people and your grades. Well, you probably won't have the grades. I don't know if you'll have that or not, since I'm the teacher. But you should have classwork and people at the top.
Yes.
Okay, so you're in my classroom.
Oh, I thought. Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, what I clicked on people, and then now I see everybody else who's in the classroom with me, who all my students are. Here's all my students, and then I'm the teacher of the classroom up here. I didn't invite any other teachers today.
I guess I thought I was going to another meet. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No. So of course, if we were to open up another meet, then we would have two going. What would probably happen to the sound? And this
It
is a
would
good
echo.
yeah, that's right. That sometimes that's going to happen to you, right? Because if you've got, and I know a lot of people are thinking about those breakout rooms that are coming like super soon to our Google Meet. And a way to get around that, of course, is using the Google Classroom to set up some external Google Meets there. But if you've got more than one Meet going and you're listening to both of them, you're going to hear a big jumble. And there's a really nice little extension, and I'm going to go to the App Store right here just so you can see it, and I'll put the link inside the chat as well. And it's called Mute Tab. And Mute Tab is amazing because what it will do is I'm on a tab and I click the little icon and it'll mute just that one tab. And I can still hear what's going on in all my other tabs. And I can click as many tabs as I want to mute. It'll let me do that. And then I'd have to go back and, of course, unmute them. But it's a really nice feature to have. And it's this one right here. Okay, it's got the little, you can see this, right? I'm hoping that you're able to see this. And I'm going to go ahead and click here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the link here. Put this in the Meet. All right. I just put it in the Meet for you in the event that you'd like to add that to your extensions. And it will be up in your extensions at the top. And if you don't see it, you got to click on that puzzle piece. And when you click on a puzzle piece, then you can pin it. And you can pin, so that way you'll see it up on your extensions. And it's really so easy to use. You just, whatever tab you're on, you just click it and then it'll mute that tab. So if like I said, I've got a couple of Meets that are open, I can mute one and keep the other one open that I'm listening to my kids. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I want to make sure I'm back on the Meet so I can see everybody. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back into my my Google Classroom. Possibly. I think I might have. Let me go back here and go back a couple of pages here.
Misha, I have a question.
Yes.
In regards to, like, right now, I know I downloaded that extension and it doesn't show that it appears. So I clicked on in the chat, but then I see it says removed from Chrome, re-enable. Okay. Are they updating all the time? Like the
no, it's actually, if it says remove from Chrome, that means that you have it. So what you'll need to do is you click on that little puzzle piece that's right next to your name, up by the three dots, right? By the letter of your name. And you click on that puzzle piece and then you'll see it in with all your extensions, and there's a little pin. And if you click on the little pin, you're going to make it blue and then it'll appear in your extensions. Does that make sense?
And if it's not there anymore, because I looked at my puzzle piece, but it's not, obviously it disappeared and went somewhere else, but it's not there anymore.
You might have removed it. You might have accidentally removed it. But if you click on that link, you can get it back, and then you'll find it if you click on that puzzle piece. And I'm sorry you're having such an issue with that.
No, that's okay. And then let me see. And then on the Google, the Classroom invite, I just wanted to make sure that if we're signed up, then we don't have to worry about what's it called? That we're already in, and if the link gets reset, we can just automatically, we don't have to go and say, oh, let me the link.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's kind of like, you know how when you get your students in and then you reset like the code, the class code, right? Those kids are still in there. They're not gonna be thrown out or anything. They're still in there. So it's the same thing with that link. You could reset that link if you want to. Now, the link that I recommend that you reset from time to time is this one right here. This is the Meet to your link, or the link to your Meet. What happens is sometimes, the network will go down at somebody's home. And right now, since we're kind of all remote, that might happen to your kids, right? So their network goes down, they get thrown out of the Meet, and Google thinks that you knocked them out of the Meet, that you took them out. And because of that, it's not going to let them back in for the rest of the day. It's a safety feature that they have. I know it's a little annoying, but I'm glad that it's there. So now I can't get in as a student, and I'm emailing my teacher, letting my teacher know. So then she's going to have to do one of two things. She's either going to have to, kick everybody out so I can get back in right now, which is one possibility, or, making sure that that link is reset every day. So that way tomorrow I can get back in. Because if it's for a period class and it's towards the end, chances are it's going to take more time for my teacher to kick everybody out and then get us all back in. If this is like for an elementary where they're in there a lot longer, of course, they're going to want to take that 5-minute break to get everybody out and then get them back in. That's when you need everybody to be out, is when you're resetting the Meet link. But if you reset it in the evening, after everybody's already gone, then it's not going to take any real time away. And to do that, you click up here onto the gear wheel. You zoom out a little bit here. I'm going to go down to where it says Meet right here. And all I'm going to do is click right here, and then I can reset the link. And when I reset the link on your Google Classroom, that link will automatically refresh itself. And so you'll see a new link there. But if I'm resetting that Meet link while I have kids in there, they're gonna kind of get thrown out of there. So I need to make sure I do one of two things. Okay, everybody, we're gonna take a break. We all need to get out because Johnny needs to get back in, and we really need him in here because this is really important information. So can I have everybody step out of the Meet, and then I'm gonna reset the link, count to 40, and then I'm gonna reset that link, and then we can all jump back in. Okay, that's what I would do if it was really vital that they get back in. If it's towards the end of the period and it's just going to be too much of a time consumer, then make sure at the end of the day that you reset the link so that way everybody will be able to get back in. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Just gave me the lesson that I had to learn the hard way.
And I know that's an issue, and I know it's also an issue because our admins want to come into our meets, and that's why having that this link, the invite link right here, that's why that is so cool, because now I can just give my principal this link right here to get into my classroom. And once they're in, they're in. Of course, they can remove themselves as well and then get in later if they need to. But having this link, so that way, because really they want the link to get into the classroom as quickly as they can and to get into your Meet. And we do need to change those Meet links just because, those wires get crossed in Google sometimes. I mean, sometimes even the teacher can get thrown out of the Meet, and the same thing can happen. So it is kind of I really say it's a rule of thumb that you change this Meet link. At the end of the day, I'm closing up shop. I'm ready to go home. Nobody's in the Meet. I'm just going to go ahead and refresh the link. So tomorrow morning, everybody will be able to get in right away, and we can get started. Does that make sense?
Misha, I have a question. So with the invite link, if you give that to your administrator, will that stay constant forever?
It looked, I don't think so. I mean, it shows here that it's here, and you just copy it. Now I'm assuming that if I were to, I'm going to reset them. And look at that, the link changed. Did you see that? This link right here just changed, and my code just changed, which means that the link that I sent out to you, you're in. That's awesome. But now you're not going to be able to turn around and copy that link because you're a savvy kid and give it to somebody else because I just changed the link. That link is not going to work anymore. Yeah. Does that make sense?
But Ms. Love, you only do that in case of an issue.
Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't change it unless I had to.
Okay, there was one day when I had to change classrooms 5 times. It hasn't happened in a long time, and I teach first grade, so I was like, yes. Okay, kids, we've got to.
No, I understand. I taught first grade for 21 years, so I am right there with you, and I understand that, and I know we've had some issues, with networks going down and that kind of, and I know that's been part of it. We've just had Google's adjusting just like the rest of us are to being home and having to do this remotely. So, and sometimes being flexible is hard because you're just like, gosh, I got to get through this lesson and I need to make sure my kids get this information. And I know, and we don't want to put any anxiety on you. We're trying to remove it from all of you, and we're doing the best that we can. But one of the things that I just would recommend doing, like if you're having an issue, is go ahead and give this link out to your principals. Yes. And I would not change this link the invite link. I would not change the invite link unless somebody got a hold of it and they were passing it around. And that's probably going to happen more in the middle school or the high school. But they're not going to get that link unless you give it to them. So the only people I would give that link to are the people like teachers that I'm going to trust that are going to go in there. Because sometimes we want a co-teacher in there with us, right, or whatever. So that invite link will really help out. That's going to invite you as a student, though. This invite link will. So, but that's okay if our administrators are just in there as a student, they can get right into the Meet. Then they can just jump out, because we want to make it easy for them too. And I know Google is working on an evaluator system to make it even easier for them. And I don't know when that's going to be available. I don't want to say it's going to be available next, in a couple of months. I don't know. I've read about it. So, which means they're thinking about it and it's in the process of happening.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Are there any other questions about using the Meet link or that component of Google Classroom? Okay. I'm going to go over just a couple of things about your classwork, about things that you should remember as far as giving out assignments to students. And then we're going to talk about the fun stuff of when you collaborate with your colleagues, some of the things that you should do to help yourself with that as well. So I'm going to go to classwork up here at the top because I'm the teacher. And when I go to classwork, of course, I have the create button. You don't have that. I do it because I'm the teacher, and you have it in all of your classrooms that you've been working on. And of course, we're going to give an assignment. Now I'm going to say something here because I see the second option here, which is quiz assignment. And I know that we want to use this option, because it's going to make things easier for us. If you just make a Google form and you turn it into a quiz on the Google Form side instead of using this quiz option, it's better. And I know that doesn't make any sense probably, but when you use the quiz assignment, what it does is it creates a Google form for you, and it puts some kind of code onto that Google form. I can't explain it, but I've seen it happen where the form kind of doesn't perform like it's supposed to. It gets a little hinky, and I know that they are working on it because they're trying to iron that out. But something happens, and it doesn't always work the way it's supposed to. So what I suggest that you do is, instead of using a quiz assignment, is you create a Google form in your Google Drive, and there's an option that you can make it a quiz in your Google. I'll show that to you in just a few minutes, where you can make it a quiz, and then you will assign it with a link to your Google Classroom instead of using the assignment here, because like I said, it puts some kind of code in there, and every once in a while it gets hinky. And the last thing you want is to be giving a quiz to your students and then somebody goes, it's not working for me, or this, because it just takes that one time for them, and then that's it. They're not going to try again. And we want to prevent that from happening for them. We want to have them have a good experience. We want you to have a good experience with it. So that is my suggestion. Stay away from the quiz assignment. We're good about that. I can't see anybody because I'm on a different page, but I'm hoping that everybody is able to understand that. Clear as mud, right, Larry?
No, we got this. They got it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go to assignment. And when you create an assignment, and I hope that you're doing this, because this to me, this makes it so easy, is to make sure that you put a topic with this assignment. And of course, we need to put a title with it. But what we have found in our virtual classroom, and you've seen this too, Larry, where we've had students come into our virtual office area, the one that we have, our help center that we have open. And we've had students come in there and asking us about homework assignments. I know, Larry, you've had at least a couple. And we're like trying to figure out what the assignment is, because they're like, miss, it says here that I'm supposed to do this, but I don't understand. And like, there's no real instructions. So I'm going to say, really focus on those instructions and making sure that they're explicit for your students. So that way, when they are away from you, they will know what to do. Of course, you want to make sure you give it a title, and give it a good title. So that way they're aware of where that's at, week 9, whatever, if that's what you want to title it. You know better than me what you want to title your assignments, but just make sure that your instructions are just really clear for them and precise. That's super important. So I'm just going to go ahead and title this one practice for now. And I'm just going to just put in here, here's what to do, and I'm just trying to do it quickly for time purposes. So I know my English is really bad right now on there. And of course, I'm going to add something to this assignment. I want you to notice there's an add button and there's a create button. So let's say you're like, ooh, I meant to put a Google document in here. You can click create and create a blank Google document if you wanted them to write something, and it'll put it in there for you. Or if you have something that you've already created in your Google Drive, that's when you're going to do the add. And of course, you have the options of using things from your Google Drive, whether that be a sheets, a slides, a document, a form, anything that you, even PDFs, anything you have in your Google Drive, you can attach to that and put it in there. Now, you don't use the Google Drive if you are assigning a Google form. Let me say that again. You don't use Google Drive if you are assigning a Google form. You're going to use a link, and we're going to look at that here in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to Drive because I'm going to assign just something out of my drive here. I have so much in my drive. All right. Is there a question, Larry?
No,
we good?
We're good.
Oh,
we're
okay.
good.
I just want to make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and just insert this nameplate that we have here. And, you know, I need to really look right here. A lot of teachers, they either don't know that it's here or not sure really what this is, but students can view file. What this means is that I've got this Google document, and all of my students can be in that Google document up to, I think it is 50 at a time, and they can look at that document. They can't do anything to it. Maybe I don't want 50 students inside one document looking at it. Maybe I want to make it so they can edit it. So should I go here to students can edit this file? This one file?
You're going to have 50 kids at one time edit a file?
That's like a lot. I mean, it might be fun for like a couple of seconds, and then you're going to realize, oh my gosh, we have complete chaos. So that might not be the best option either. Now, I would use this option if I was assigning like a slideshow to like four of my kids, because you know you can assign things to just specific students and specific groups in your Google Classroom. Then I would say students can edit the file. That way they're all working on one together. Or if they were working on a document together, I would want them to do that. But if I want this to go out to all of my students or to a majority of them, I want to make a copy for each student. What that's going to do is, first of all, it's going to put their name on it when they click on it. It creates the document or the slides or the spreadsheet or whatever it is that you have, and it creates it for them. It puts their name on it. And then that way they have their own copy, and that's what they can turn into you. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because that's what we really want to do. So you want to make sure that you're making a copy for your students. I always highly recommend that one. Yes, if you want them to just look at it, like with a PDF, you know they're not going to be able to really edit it unless you're wanting them to use like the Snap and Read or or a couple of the other PDF editors that we have. If they're just reading it, or yeah, just let them view it. But if you want them to work on it, and they're not going to be doing group work, this is going to be individual work, use the make a copy for each student. Super important, super important. Okay. And you also want to make sure that you give your assignment a topic. Why is that important, Larry?
Because it organizes it and makes it easier for your students to find that assignment.
That's right. You know, you might want to refer to this assignment at some point. Do you remember when we did that assignment on the Google Trainer name tag? Do you remember when we did that? Let's see if we can find that assignment. If it's just a whole string, and y'all been on the stream on this, there's a lot of assignments there. You're going to have to hunt through all of them to find it. Even though they're kind of stacked by date, you're still going to have to do some hunting. And I don't know about you, but after a couple of assignments, I'm done. You know, I'm not going to sit there and look through all of it trying to find this one assignment. But I can make it a lot easier for my kids by giving them a topic. And you see, I have a topic for breakout room 1, for PE, for my quiz, for water cycle, for whale sharks. I'm going to go ahead and create a topic for trainer name tag. There we go. All right. If I could only spell. That one I got to spell properly. I'm sorry. There we go. All right. So I put a trainer name tag. So now what it's going to do is it's going to make a topic of trainer name tag, and this assignment is going to be there. So, and you know, you can assign it now or you can schedule it for later, right? Y'all know that? Or do you see thumbs up, Larry? Because I'm not on the page. I can't see everybody.
I'm starting to see the thumbs up.
Okay, so we know about clicking on the little disclosure arrow over here and scheduling that assignment to go live at a later time. And you can take it down to the minute of when that assignment should go live. If I click schedule and I say, okay, October 6th, that's tomorrow. You know what? I'm going to have it go live on the 7th, and I'm going to have it go live at 8:37 in the morning when I know my kids are in there. And then I schedule it. And if I click schedule tomorrow morning at 8:37, if you join my classroom, you're going to get a notification that says I gave you an assignment. So I'm really not going to do that, but I would just click schedule and then it would be scheduled to go tomorrow morning. I don't have to think about it. It's going to just go live. That might help out. Like if you know you're going to be out one day, you're going to a training, you have a doctor's appointment, whatever it might be, you can schedule your assignments to go live at specific times. And it makes it look like you're just on that computer, just running, and you just schedule them ahead of time. So this is very, very helpful for me as a teacher, and hopefully for you as one as well. I'm gonna cancel this one so that nobody gets a notification tomorrow morning. Okay. But I want you to look over here. I'm gonna go ahead and click off the assignment. Here are my topics. Now, since I didn't really kind of save it, you're not gonna see that topic there since I canceled it. But I do have topics on my breakout rooms, and it's going to, when I click on it, it's just going to show me the assignments that are listed under that topic, or that go along with that topic. So I've got these two assignments here under breakout room 1. Under water cycle, I've just got one assignment there. And it's going to be really easy for me to find. So as a student, if you go into classwork and you look at the left-hand side, you'll see all topics, and you can click on one of the topics and it will just show you those assignments specific to that topic, which is nice for students to help filter out that information. Okay. Any questions about that? We good? Okay.
Now, I know you used to be a first grade teacher.
Yes.
And in first grade, you teach all content, basically all the core, correct?
Yes.
As a first grade teacher, would you recommend one Google Classroom for the whole class, or would you use topics to break it up?
I would probably use topics to break it up. I want as few clicks as possible for my kids, for first graders, even though I know they can do the most amazing things. But I don't want them clicking in and out of Google Classrooms, because that's when you can lose them, right? You need to go into the science Google Classroom now. Now we're going to go into, so I don't want to do that. I want to have everything for our class in one classroom. But I do want to have the topics over here. So I would have a topic for science, and I would have a topic for social studies, and etc. And even within those topics, I'm going to even put more topics. Like if we're doing science and we're talking about sharks, I would probably say sharks. And so that way that would be under, of course, within the science area. And that way I can have almost like subtopics. Now they're not going to fall right under each other. They'll be in alphabetical order, kind of like they're not really in alphabetical order here. I think they're in by the order that I put them here. But they're not going to fall in together. So you have science, and then you might have sharks down here. Now, if I were to write science sharks, then that would go as a different topic. Does that make sense?
And that's not just first grade. I would do that if I'm not departmentalized. I would, and Misha's idea still would work.
Yes.
And if I'm a fifth grade teacher, not departmentalized, then I might have math daily work, math quiz, math homework. You see what I'm saying? And then it makes it easier for the students to find the math homework.
Yes. Yeah. Because the last thing you want is to give an assignment, and then it's the next day, and of course nothing got done, and then their answer is, well, I couldn't find it. I didn't know where it was. You told me it was here, but I couldn't find it. And, you know, that's going to happen. Some of our kids are going to self-sabotage, right? But we need to be a step ahead of them. So, well, that's why I gave it a topic. And remember, I showed you how to filter and find those topics. Remember that, Eric? I told you how to do that. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So it's just another way of showing them how they can help themselves to find that information within your Google Classroom.
And if you're departmentalized, then I would have one Google Classroom for each period.
Period, yes.
You still go ahead and put in the topics. You still make it easier for them.
Yes.
Ms. Love, you had a question?
I did. How do you do like the subtopics within a topic?
So for
it's not
example,
really going to be a subtopic. It's just going to be like another. So if I let's say that I'm going to just go ahead and I'm actually just going to really create something super fast here.
Okay.
And I'm not even going to type really anything in here. All right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this as a topic. I'm going to create a topic. We're going to call it science.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm going to assign this. So everybody's going to get a little message that I assigned something. You're going to be like, what is this? I didn't, you know. So, okay, I just assigned it. So now you're going to see that I have the topic of science right here, right? You see it? I got science there. So now what I'm going to do is if I create another assignment, and I'm going to add some information to it, what this one's going to be under the topic, I'm going to go ahead and create a topic science, and then I might put a slash, and then I put whatever it is. So that way they'll kind of be together, but I mean, you can't, unfortunately right now they don't have a way to do subtopics, but I can kind of do that on my own by putting science sharks, science ocean, whatever it is. So that way it's easier, again, it's easier for them to find it.
Yep.
Okay. I got you. Thank you.
I wish they would have the subtopics, and I know it's coming one day, but they always say that. Everything's coming one day, and you're like, hurry up and wait. So that's how I would do it, though.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Google Classroom is a really great place to store stuff for kids. And
So
I also recommend,
excuse me, that one said science, but then the one that you were creating, let's say for Ms. Love, you create a topic again, you put science sharks this time?
Yeah, I would put science, and I probably put a dash sharks.
Okay.
And then that way they'll see science, and I'm gonna go, it's gonna be science / because you're gonna need to tell them what the topics are.
Okay.
And that way they'll be able to find them. And that's just going to help them to filter. And pretty soon, you know, they're going to become pros at this, because you're just going to say, okay, it's going to be under science, you know, earthquakes, or science, you know, whatever it is that you're discussing that week or that particular time that you have an assignment for. We're just trying to get our kids to find things really easy, and to help ourselves find stuff really easy. Because if I'm like, oh man, when did I give up? When did we assign that? That was a group assignment, and I think I did that like 2 weeks ago, and it's due, I know, like tomorrow. It might be difficult for you to have to hunt through all of that, but if you've got the topics, it's going to be easier for you and for your students.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. How we doing? We doing okay? We got Google Classroom. I don't want to get too deep into Google Classroom, because there's some other things. Actually, I do want to show you one more thing in Google Classroom. So if I'm going to create an assignment, and pretend here's my assignment, and you know what? This assignment is not going out to everybody. This is going to be a group assignment for just some of my students. So what I can do is I can go over here to all students, and it's going to show me everybody who's in the class, and I'm going to uncheck where it says all students up here. So now all the check marks are gone, and I'm going to give this to Digital Badges and to Rebecca and to Misha Daniel, because they need extra help big time. So, and that's who the assignment's going to go to. So now nobody else in the classroom is going to get that assignment. They're not even going to know it was assigned. Only those 3 students are going to see that assignment, whatever that is, whether it's a reading assignment, math, science, whatever it is. And then that's it for my students. And I can put my points in, of course, my due date. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm going to put it under the topic of science, because it is a science experiment or whatever it is. And then I click assign. And then nobody else in the class is going to get that assignment. So I can group my students that way too. I can say, you know what, I want this to be a group assignment. And then that's where I would use that maybe all my students can edit that one document or that one slideshow, those 3 students, because there's only 3 of them. There's not 50 of them. There's only 3. I think they can handle that together as a team. That's something they're going to be working on as a team. Does that make sense?
We good?
Okay. Okay. And one thing, this question has come up several times about, like, if you want to schedule an assignment and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to schedule this assignment for this class and this class and this class. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. You can't do that. You can only schedule for the class that you're in right that moment. It won't allow you to schedule an assignment for other classes. They haven't gotten that far with that yet. So just something to think about. You know what? That assign is so awesome, but you're going to have to go, if you're departmentalized or you're at the middle school and you want to assign a specific assignment to several of your Google Classrooms, and it's going to be at a specific time that it's going to go live, you're going to have to go in and schedule those on each classroom. Now, if I want to send the assignment out to those classes at the same time right now, I can do that. I can do that, but I cannot schedule an assignment to more than one classroom at a time. Does that make sense? Yeah, we're good?
We're good.
Yep. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we've talked about Google Classroom. We talked about all of how we get all of our assignments and stuff. Okay. Now we're going to talk about our colleagues, because, you know, we love to share. I'm a big sharer. I love to share all my stuff out with whoever wants it. They can have it. But, you know, I've worked really hard on what I want to share out with people. And sometimes we share stuff out and we're assuming they're going to make a copy of it. And maybe they thought they made a copy of it, but they didn't. And what happens to all my hard work? Yeah. They've made changes to it somehow, and it's not the same for me anymore. And I want to assign that to my students at some point. And now I'm going to have to go back and change a lot of that. So how can I avoid that? How can I make sure that my colleagues get a copy? Do we have a question? I thought I heard somebody. Okay, I want to make sure.
No, we're good.
I just want to make sure. So how am I gonna do that? How am I gonna make sure that if I share something out with my colleagues, that they're going to be almost what we call force a copy? So how can I do that? So I'm going to show you that right now. And it's not the same as using the share button, okay? Because we use the share button to get the link, but then we're going to change the link. And this is so cool because this doesn't just work for Google Docs. This works for slides. This works for Google Sheets. It's really cool how it works. And then I'm also going to show you the Google Forms about how to send that Google form to your students. So I'm going to go here to go to copy. Okay. And this is a document that I'm going to share out with somebody. I worked really hard on this and I want to share this with you because you know, you're my colleague, Larry, and I want to share this with you. So I can click up here on share. And it's going to say, who do you want to share it with? And right now, it's right down here, it's showing that it's restricted, right? So I'm going to change this link to Isleta, right? It's on Isleta now, and I'm going to copy this link. But this is not the link that I'm going to send to my colleagues. I clicked on it. You notice I didn't put their names in the top. I didn't use their email. That's because I want them to make a copy of it. So this is how I do that. I click in here. I get the share link. Anybody in Isleta, I get the share link. I copied the link. I'm going to copy it one more time. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up this document right here so I can paste the link in here. Okay. It's a real long link, right? There's one part of this link I want you to look at. And of course, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and push this down a little bit so that way, oh, it's not going to let me. So, all right, right here, right after right before the question mark is the word edit. There's the T, the I, the D, and then the E is up here. It didn't put it on the same line, but the word is edit. I don't want the word edit in there. So this is what I'm going to do. Right before the question mark, I put my cursor. You can see my cursor in there, right? And I'm gonna backwards. I'm going to delete it, right? And you see, I deleted the word edit. I left the slash. All I did was delete those 4 letters, edit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the word copy, C-O-P-Y, right there. Okay, that's all I did. I took out the word edit right before, that was right before the question mark, and I replaced it with the word copy. Now watch what happens. I'm going to copy this link. Okay, I copied it, and I'm going to open up a new tab. And I'm going to paste the link in here because I want to make sure it works. Watch what happens. Oh, look at that. It is telling me that I cannot look at the document until I make a copy. So when I click make a copy, it makes a copy for me in my Google Drive. That was super, super easy. All I did was remove the word edit and replace it with the word copy. Super easy. Yes, it takes one more step. You've got to put it either in a document, or you can actually just do that in your email and then change that link to where it will say copy. Okay? You want me to go through that again? Are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay. All right. It's really easy, and I recommend doing that when sharing out with colleagues. That way, for sure, everybody gets their own copy and your original stays yours, and you're not going to have to worry or stress that somebody might make changes to it. Yes, we can always go back and undo those changes, but I don't want to have to go through that process. I have enough to do already without having to take even just a couple of minutes to go back and redo that again. I don't want to have to do that. This is the best way right here to make a copy. Okay? All right. And I'm looking at the clock, and we have just enough time to talk about Google Forms. Okay? So I'm going to go into my drive here, and I am going to go to recent because I know that I have created a quiz very recently. I think I created it last week. Maybe it's going to think it's thinking about it. Come on. Come on. It's thinking about it. It's thinking really hard. I may have to open up another tab here and try again. Oh, wait, maybe. Let's see. I'm just going to open up this form right here. Okay. I had the quiz too, but I'm just going to open up this form here. So, remember what I told you about how we want to make a quiz in Google Forms? So this is the way to do it. You open up a Google form, okay, and you're going to go up here to the gear wheel that's up here in the top right here, okay. And when you get to the gear wheel, it's going to ask you a few things. First of all, do you want to collect the students' email addresses? I recommend it. Just that's another way of being able to tell who did what, because it'll collect their email address automatically. But you don't want to collect is an email address and their ID. Okay, we don't want to do that because that's more personal information that we don't want to collect together. Okay, so I want to collect their email addresses and edit after submit. No, I don't want them to be able to edit after they submit it. I don't want to do that. And this is off of the general page. Then I'm going to go here to where it says presentation. Now, if this is a quiz, I am not going to want them to be able to click a link and do the quiz again, because that's going to mess up my data, first of all. Second of all, I might have some wise guys who might, really mess up my data a lot, and I don't want that to happen. So I want to uncheck that. So on the general, if you want to collect email addresses, which I recommend, and on the presentation, you're going to want to make sure to uncheck the link right here to submit another response. Then notice one here, it says quizzes right here. You see that? I'm going to click on that one. Now, right now, this one says make this a quiz. It's off. So I'm going to turn it on. And when I do, it says, okay, what are your quiz options? I have some options here. One of the things that I can do, if all of my students, and I know all of my students have a Chromebook that belongs to YISD, I can turn on the locked mode. Now, what that means is when they go into the quiz, it locks everything else out. They can't get on the internet. They can't do anything but the quiz. Now, I'm going to tell you, at the top, there is a button that says exit quiz for them. But when they click it, this message is going to come up and it's going to say, hey, are you sure you want to exit the quiz? Because let me tell you, when you go to get back in this quiz, I'm going to tell your teacher. And so they have to make that choice. Do I want to stay in the quiz and finish it, or do I want to get out? Because, you know, they might be sneaky. They might be thinking they need to get out and get some answers from the internet, right? So we're going to say that this student went ahead and decided to exit the quiz. They found the answers, they got, and now they're ready to get back into the quiz. Once they click on that link in Google Classroom again, immediately an email is sent from Google to your email, and it tells you which email address, which one of your students got back into the quiz. What does that do for you? That's a red flag, right? And it could be that maybe they got out by accident, but now I know in the back of my mind, this is a student I need to talk to and find out what happened. Because it could be maybe their internet dropped. That happens. It happens a lot, but that may not be the case. It may be the case that they were online, they found some information, and then they got back into the quiz. But that's just a red flag in the back of your head. So this, having the locked quiz feature is really, really good if you know, in fact, that all of the students that you have in your classroom have a YISD Chromebook. If they are on another device like a MacBook, it will not work. It will not let them go into the quiz because they have to be on a Chromebook that is owned by YISD in order for it to work. So if they're on a PC, nope. They're on a phone, nope. They're on a Mac, nope. They have to be on a Chromebook. And even if they're on a Chromebook and then it's not a YISD Chromebook, nope, they can't get into the quiz. It has to be a Chromebook that YISD is managing, that we are provisioning, okay? That's how the lock quiz mode works, okay? But now I made it a quiz, right? I turned the quiz feature on, and I want to release the grade immediately after they finished. So I click save. And now what I can do for each one of my questions, if I want to, first of all, write down here where it says answer key. Do you see this in the bottom? You'll see this in the bottom of all your questions. Now, as you're making your questions, you'll see this as well. And when you click on it, what it will do, it'll ask you, how many points do you want this particular question to be for? And you can make that choice, and you can go up by ones or twos or tens. You can make it whatever number you want between 1 and 100, right? And then what you can do is you choose which answer is the correct answer, because this works mainly for multiple choice. It will work for short answer, but you just have to make sure that if it's like you're spelling, you know, a word and how exactly you spelled that word, where you put the capital letter, it is going to look at every single character. And if it's not exactly like the one that you typed in, it will not mark it correct. So you do have to be careful with the short answer, or ones where they're going to actually put words or input words into it. Okay? Questions about that? We good? Now, what about sending this out? Because I have to send this out to my students. And you're talking about this link, Misha. What are you talking about? Let me show you. I'm ready to send this quiz out through my Google Classroom. So I'm going to click send, the button up here, send. I cannot use email. It will not work with the Google form because we do not use Gmail. We use Outlook. I can't use it. So I'm going to go right over here to where the little link is. I click on the link, and now I have the link for my form. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go into my Google Classroom, and I'm going to add it. Not from my Google Drive, I'm going to add it as a link. Paste it in there, add the link. And there's my quiz ready to go. Now my quiz is going to be in there. So when I click assign, it's going to be in there for all of my students to click on. Now I did not make this one a locked quiz. I left that unchecked because I'm not sure. A couple of my kids, you know, I know they're using different types of devices, and I want to make sure everybody has access to my quiz. So I didn't mark the locked quiz. But if I'm teaching a class and I know every single one of my kids has a Chromebook and it's from a YISD, I'm going to use that locked quiz. I'm going to use it. Okay? Any questions about that? No, we're good? All right. Okay, so we've talked about Google Forms, adding them into a Google Classroom. We've talked about Google Docs, right? Putting them into a classroom. What about a slideshow? What about adding slides? Can we add a slideshow to this Google Classroom here? Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Larry?
Yeah.
Do we have enough time to show them another really cool little trick that they can use?
We have 8 minutes, so I think we have time.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go back in here to my Google Drive. I'm going to open up a new window because that one seems to be giving me problems. It's not even moving. So I'm on a hinky computer too. So every once in a while, it just decides it's not gonna work properly for me. But thank goodness mine's back from the shop, so I should have it back tomorrow. Yay! So hopefully my drive will come up, and I have a lot in my drive too. So it's trying to pull everything in. Well, one of the things that you can do, you know how we use that copy and we change the edit to copy in a Google Doc, and we can do that on other things too, right? Well, on a Google slide, one of the things that you can do is let's say that you just want them to look at the Google slide. You just want them to look at it. Yes, you can do the view. You can do that. But another trick that you can do, and it always will work, is you can actually put the word present in there where that word edit is. You can change it to present. And I'm looking for just a really quick presentation here. I had one up, but it's not there anymore, of course. So let me see if I can just find one super fast here. All right, I'm just going to look for one really quick here so we can look at this. And what I'm going to do is, come on, everything's running really slow again, Larry.
Yeah.
It was on my computer, right?
I think it's the computer.
Yeah, it's just this computer. Come on, let's find it. But on my presentation, you know how I can do the share, right? Come on. Everything is, it's deciding, it's just being really weird. I'm going to hopefully click this one. Hopefully it'll work. It's just freaking out big time. There we go. Maybe now. Maybe now. Please, please, please. Come on. Come on. All right. Yay. Here it is. Okay. So here's my presentation that I want to share with my kids, or I want to share with colleagues, or I want to share with other people, but I don't want anybody to mess with anything within the presentation, right? I just want them to be able to look at it. Yes, again, we can use the view that is in the Google Classroom, but that's only going to work for everybody to look at it at the same time, and then you're going to see everybody that's in there, right? And maybe, yeah, that may be a little bit tricky. So one of the things I can do is I can click the share button, and hopefully it'll come up here. Give me just a second. I apologize for the slowness of everything. And I'm going to get the link with the Zleta link, just like I did the last time when I went and I changed the link a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this link because the link is right. Okay, I copy it. And now I'm going to go back into my document that I had here. Okay, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and I'm going to paste the link for the document in here. And look, there's that word edit. You'll see that it's right here next to there's the question mark, and the word edit is right here. And when I take the word edit away, this time I'm not going to put copy. This time I'm going to put the word present. And when you do that, it puts it in presentation mode, and they can't edit it, and all they can do is click through it. Because sometimes when we share out a Google slide, they see the edit slides, and they can go in there and they can move them around. And sometimes I've heard teachers say, man, I wish there was a way I could just show it to them without them moving everything on the slide. They're moving stuff, and it's they're changing the text and all that. How do I get it so that way they don't do that? And one of the ways that you can do that is just by putting the word present in there. Let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And we are just about out of time. So this will be the last thing that I show you today. And I paste it in there. And watch what happens. It's in presentation mode. And all I can do is scroll through my presentation. I can't change anything. I can't do anything but look at it. And then I would send that as a link into my Google Classroom. I wouldn't use it from the presentation as from my Google Drive. I would send the link just like I did with the Google form. And then that way, all they see is the presentation form of that Google slideshow.
Very good. All right, Misha, good job. And you have 3 minutes to spare.
All right. Well, I'm going to stick around for questions. If there's questions or you know, anybody has anything, any comments or anything, you know, we'll be here for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. So maybe my computer will start running a little bit better.
All right. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
The recording? Yeah. There we go. Are there any questions? Are there any